Hey, welcome to this short introduction training about Tech Leader Bootcamp. My name is Stephen Bates, working with obviously Todd Larson, co-founder of Tech Leader Bootcamp. We're not going to go too much into us. We've been in the world of helping leaders for a very, very long time. But what we really want to do is give you an overview of what Tech Leader Bootcamp is all about, how it can work for you if you're a CEO or C-suite, or if you're a technical expert who wants to improve their skills and move up the career ladder, really. So let's get into what Tech Leader Bootcamp is, how it works, and how you can get some more information and apply to join us. So what's the one thing Google, Facebook, and Airbnb all do? Todd, what is it?
I think this is a helpful framing to understand what is the commonality across all of these companies that we can agree all are successful and have figured out how to scale engineering to a massive degree. And that is that they train their engineering managers. That is the one common thing that they all do, because that is the key to scaling at their levels of success.
And that really is what Tech Leader Bootcamp is all about, because, you know, the question is why bother? Because we're all busy. Everyone's busy. So you've got enough to do. And this is what everyone says to me when I'm working with leaders. It's like, I'm so busy anyway. And I recently put a poll up about why do we do things ourselves rather than give it and delegate it to somebody else. And 70% of people said the same answer, which was, it's just easier for me to do it. But as you just said, scaling a company, especially a fast-moving, highly complex thing like a tech company, is impossible. So you end up loads of hours, you end up working far too long, things get missed, all sorts of problems happen. So that's why they do it, isn't it?
Exactly.
Because it's hard to. Sorry, Todd.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's exactly it. I think they do this, they invest in this because they understand that is the key to the levels that they're at. And it's so hard to actually find and hire outside leaders. And that's one of the reasons why they invest in this so deeply.
Yeah, there's a massive shortage. And if you are a CEO or C-suite and you're looking for somebody, finding these people takes a lot of time. And then the second point there is they don't want to shock the culture with too many outside managers, because you're building your own brand, your own way of doing things. They understand the product. Your people understand the product you're creating. And bringing lots of people in with often expertise, which may be relevant or not relevant, you don't know until you brought them in, but just a shock to the culture and the process and the time it takes for them to get on board with what you're doing. It's a long, long, long time. So it's hard to find people and hire them in quickly. And the shock to the system while you're just trying to get things done is colossal. And the third one, funny enough, it's actually cheaper this way. It's cheaper to grow your own by a long way. I know you have loads of stats and
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, a lot of companies spend a lot of time just waiting for that ideal manager to come along and searching for that person when they may have that kind of burgeoning leader within their organization already. And there's people that could step up that have already, come up in the culture and are already in-house that you can really grow into your own leaders.
And I know you were speaking to someone very recently, and they said they had some really, really essential key people who really knew their stuff, their technical skills and experience were, second to none, but they just couldn't handle the leap to being a leader. So
absolutely.
So you might have some amazing people, but it's a whole different thing to then have to pull everything together. So this is what Tech Leader Bootcamp is all about, and to solve these critical problems. I know you're always working with your clients around these things.
Yeah, I think some of the common problems, as I've been consulting with startups all over the world, is these are the big three things that they're facing. That if you zoom out, stronger technical leadership and management skills can actually solve these. And so missing deadlines and wrapped around that is just slower delivery. So they need to speed up the delivery to actually hit these deadlines that they've set. And then they may find that there's actually a lot of turnover on the team. And that is also another symptom of technical leadership that's either not there at all or just not as strong and developed as it needs to be.
Yeah, and I always say to my clients is, why would they want to stay with you as a leader? Because there are many things great leadership can do, and one of them is just not only giving people direction and safety and excitement, but it's just like, I know where I'm going, and I know this is a great company, and it's worth me staying, because it may be a great project, but if it's in chaos, or people feel like they're not achieving, or there's a career pathway, or they can see results happening because you missed deadlines and you messed up the delivery, and you think this company's not going to get there, people are going to jump ship. So that's incredibly expensive. So leadership is critical to keep people in, and also as we said, the time it takes to get new people in and up to speed, as well as the cost of finding them, is colossal. So it's quick and easy to do it this way.
Absolutely.
So the tech industry needs good leaders because, we do a drum roll. Yeah, tech companies are extremely complicated to operate. Okay, extremely, and they're incredibly fast moving as well.
Yeah, I think with all the moving pieces, all the cross-functional dependencies and outside partnerships with vendors, there are so many things in play. And then you throw in all the diverse skill sets and personalities on the team that you actually need to deliver great software. These are two massive factors that make this such a dire need for companies to actually have these leaders in place. And, I think also unique to this industry in particular is that we have so many smart, talented technical people, but the actual people skills are a bit underdeveloped because they've not had the experiences and the training to understand how can they have frameworks to work with people in collaboration in the same way that they have frameworks for code.
I had that conversation literally yesterday with a client, and they were talking about systems, processes, making sure everything works. And I said, there's something you're missing. And they said, what? And I said, who makes these systems and processes work? Because they're a systems person, and some managers are very good at systems management. Some are better at people management. But I just had to remind him that every system requires people. And it was like, he was like, oh yeah. Yeah. And it was almost like, how did I miss that? Because people design the systems, people run the systems, people mess up the systems because they want to do something on their own, do it in their own way. So it all does come down to making sure that you're excellent and understand people in the same way as you understand the skills of your technical knowledge. So as it says there, they require complex people and systems management at the scale we're talking about of success that people want to achieve. So there's a lot of people who just don't understand people, and anybody who understands the framework of how people think, then they can do amazing stuff with their tech, with the people they have, get the best out of them and everything else. So it's one of the most important missing pieces, but it's almost one of those things that's almost so obvious we forget. People run everything.
It can be taken for granted, especially for deeply technical people that do this sort of systems thinking like you're talking about.
Yeah. So I know you talk about this.
Yeah.
As they scale, they always face these things. Yeah.
Right. This, you'll see, different growth phases where maybe these things get under control as you add to the team, hire in some key people. But then as you add more to the team, you face these all over again. And so these are problems that are usually ongoing, but the key to actually solving them once and for all, and to continually solve them as they come up with new challenges, is to have that technical leadership. So that's everything from, missing the expectations of either partner teams, other disciplines in the company, or outside partners, missing internal deadlines, slowing down in general, and just releasing less frequently. And what that actually leads to is losing your advantage of speed to market. So, if your product is slowing down in the delivery, there's a competitor, more than likely, at least one, that is going to eat your lunch and get to market faster. And so, because of what leads to that often is excessive bugs and just lowered product quality. And, you see then that will lead to higher employee turnover. These aren't all necessarily related, but the overall thread that helps control these is that strong technical leadership.
And I think it's important to understand from 2 points of view, depending on who you are watching this. If you are a founder or C-suite or CEO or someone running the company, you'll identify the consequences of missing critical deadlines much more readily. You'll understand the cash flow problems. You'll understand how stakeholders might be breathing down your neck saying, we gave you all this money, where's the output? So from that point of view, you can understand how having control of your situation, your company, the more control, so you don't miss these important things, you get that straight away. But if you are a technical expert looking to become a tech leader, this is what you're going to be delivering to the C-suite. You're the person who can say, I can do this for you. I understand how to manage, lead both systems and processes. I can glue your company together for you while you're doing the strategic stuff, while you're talking to investors and while you're designing things. So from both sides, this is why this is important. So if you think, oh, well, I'm not really understanding, or I'm not sure I care about the consequences, well, actually, this is why Tech Leader Bootcamp is so necessary, because you're the people that will make this happen, to make the companies actually work, which keeps employment, it keeps it solvent, actually hits the deadlines, makes the money, and builds people's career reputations. So Tech Leader Bootcamp is very much for both sides of it. Do you have some people who need to be better at gluing it all together? Or if you're an individual thinking, I want to move my career forward, you are the person we're talking to who can glue this together and go to companies, go to your boss and say, I need to be better at this for you. So I think it's really important to understand that this is for everybody, whatever level you're at. You are the glue, and the CEO wants the glue. The founder wants the glue. They need it.
Absolutely. I think you touched on a little bit kind of the opportunity of building career equity through this. And I think I talked to a lot of really talented engineers, senior software engineers, and they really are dependent and expecting their employer to level them up. And so I think this is a great way for someone who is aspiring to level up their career on their own, for them to really stand out amongst the competition. There's a shortage of engineering managers, and not a lot of people have these people skills. And so if you can be a good technical person and then add the people skills on top of it, it becomes an incredible competitive advantage in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of those things we come to, we just went off I went a bit off on a tangent because I'm so passionate about this. As as you say, which damages the burn rate in the runway. It just, all those things cripple it,
Yeah. So
there's a lot of need for this. And when I've worked with companies that I've been looking for investment, one of the things they ask is, who are the people making this work? Are they capable of running this company? And if you can say to people, we have these people who are doing, Tech Leader Bootcamp graduates, they actually say, oh, good, you've actually got some great technical people who can actually lead and manage. Fantastic.
Exactly. And when they're investing these, huge rounds of money, they want to know it's going to be spent and allocated properly and not wasted. And so that is where, having that strong leadership is going to, protect the runway and, make sure the burn rate is as low as it possibly can be. And we're getting the most out of the most expensive resources in the company, which are typically the engineers.
Absolutely. But that's not what normally happens, is it, Todd?
No, if we go back, there were a few slides ago where we said, what are the common things? Like missing deadlines, missing expectations, slow delivery. And so the common solution to that is say, well, let's throw more money, which is usually more developers, at the problem, just put more people on it, right? But what that actually leads to is less velocity per developer. So you actually can slow down even more. And so it's a bit counterintuitive for people that haven't experienced this or haven't thought it through, but it makes it worse. And so you cannot just add more developers. You actually need to have a layer of coordination and leadership and management.
The way I like to think about this is, imagine you've got a kid's party and you've got 27-year-olds running riot in your backyard. And then what you think is, well, this is getting out of control. I'm the one just controlling this on my own. Well, the best thing to do to make this party more, less chaotic is to add another 10 kids.
It's exactly it. It has the opposite effects and can actually be more damaging than to have done nothing and let it continue at the same pace. It can cause more churn, et cetera. So there's a lot of fallout from this approach.
But we do this because we think, I've just got to get this deadline. I've got to get this fixed. I've got to, let's throw some more stuff at it. But actually, if it's not working, you're just going to throw more people into it for it not to work. So it's fixing the right problem, which is leadership, coordination, control.
Yep.
But that is the solution: improving leadership and creating control. And do you know what? Control is one of the most desired things in any part of life. Because although we want to create something new, we want to take our idea and move it forward, we want to do it in a way that we know is probably going to succeed. So this is leadership, where we're going, and control to make sure it happens in the right way, in the easiest way, in the best way. And that is what Tech Leader Bootcamp is really all about. And that is why Facebook, Google, Airbnb develop their own tech leaders, their engineering managers. But smaller companies often don't have the resources or the experience or the time to create their own training. Because obviously what you're focused on is this amazing idea you've got and you want to bring to market. So you don't want to be having to distract yourself and say, how do we do this? Because, and this is why we teamed up, isn't it? Because you've been through this so many times with the companies you've been with, but this is my expertise about developing people. And that's why we put this together, because I've been doing this for 20 plus years, 30 years as a trainer. Botox, collagen, I'm doing well, I think. So,
wouldn't have guessed, Stephen. You're looking good. You're looking good.
Yeah, like I say, Botox. Perhaps not. So that's because the smaller companies don't have the time or the resources to put this together, or the experience. And most of the time, most of the people we speak to, they don't want to either. They don't want to have the hassle of doing this as a side issue, because they want to focus on their core priority. So this is why we launched Tech Leader Bootcamp, very simply. That's why we launched it, because there's a massive problem that can be solved reasonably easily. So this is, I know where you come from.
Yeah. So I think what's really exciting for me with this and solving this problem in the industry is, 10 years ago is when coding boot camps really came on the scene. And, I was involved with the first ever coding boot camp in Chicago called Starter League. And that was amazing to see the wave of new developers and technical people that came out of all of those boot camps across the country and, now the world. And what that has done, though, is created a second order problem, is that there's so many developers and coders. We actually need leaders to lead those people and to coordinate them and to manage all of that. So this is the next wave of problem that is really reaching ahead for a lot of companies, where they are just reaching all these problems of moving slowly and having more technical issues. And it really comes down to a lack of leadership. And so that's what this program aims to solve.
I actually remember 10 years ago, it was about 10 years ago, while you were off in your camp doing this over there, I was working for a very, very big tech company. And I was working with their leaders and managers. And I asked the question of this group of people, how many people in this room consider themselves a leader? And I think it was about 8 to 10 people. I can't remember exactly. It was a while ago. One person put their hand up and said, I'm a leader. Now, all of them had a leadership managerial responsibilities. We were talking about senior people, and they were all in the design and production area of the company. They were the cutting edge of designing the products. And when I said this, who's a leader, one person put his hand up, and that's because his company he created was bought out by this massive company. So he had already been the CEO, and now he was a senior person because his product had been bought in. The interesting thing is, one of the most talented, clever people in that room said to me, before you ask that question, I never even thought about the concept of leadership.
Wow.
And he is leading a large part of the product line, and his decisions are going to influence thousands of people in the development factories.
That's incredible. So he, needless to say, had not gone through any sort of training.
No,
formal
he literally
or
was self-taught. He was self-taught as a coder. Yeah. From the smartest guys I've ever met. Brilliant guy. Yeah. Incredibly clever. Very successful. Just hadn't even had the concept of it. Yeah. And that is how deep the problem can be. Some really great people who are controlling huge parts of the organization and revenue hasn't even crossed their mind. That's not that uncommon, because his expertise and what he was really, really interested in was producing good product, not the process of how you get people to join in and help him produce this product. Because he had been a solo thinker for such a long time.
That is so common, because I think what will often happen as a company scales is, the first engineer or the, most senior one will just automatically by default get put into a managerial role, and then is just left to their own devices to figure it out. So that was certainly my story, and I had to seek out my own mentorship and learning, and learn the lessons the hard way. But these bigger companies don't do it that way, and it doesn't have to be that way.
No. Oh, I could tell you stories, but we'll talk about that another time. Yeah. So there's a lot of great skill and knowledge and experience sitting possibly in your company that doesn't even really think about leadership, management, control systems, scalability, productivity. They know it should be, but it's just not on their radar. And then they're asked to do it. So it's enormously stressful for them, enormously stressful. Hence why I was working in this company. Anyway, so I love this graphic. Coder bootcamps were all about what goes inside the computer, yeah?
Oh, yes. That is just a mess when I look at that. This was figuring out what are the different, computers, like, this is a good metaphor for the different types of stacks, the different languages. People are learning about the different, what is happening in each type of computer. And so this illustrates that in a bit of an anxiety-inducing way with the chaos in that computer room. Yeah. But I think now, the leadership solution solves a higher level problem. Yeah.
And that is about when you've got a coder or a worker within an organization aiming a particular, solving a problem or creating a particular result, they're focusing on that. But so many people don't actually get up and look around and go, how does this connect? And I know you're having a conversation with someone very recently telling me about it, when they just said that the company is not working together. The different parts of the company are not working together. Yeah. So most people are trained to work on their specific targets. But as companies get more complex, they need to move faster. And the products are way more complex than 10 years ago, aren't they? Absolutely colossal. So it's about leaders bringing all of this together and creating order and structure. So it's everything outside of the computer. But if you're a tech leader, it's because you have the technical knowledge necessary to understand what all of these people are doing. But you're the glue. This is the glue. I mean, the last thing we want to do is have glue in that room, I know, but but it's the organization that creates the order, the scalability, the structure, the stability, and be able to move faster.
Exactly. This program takes the chaotic computer closet of that last screen, turns it into this clean, organized data center that is interoperable and really optimized. So love this visual.
Yeah, it goes more to my OCD It's got to be.
There's not a cable out of place there.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. There's one. Anyway.
Oh,
So this is what Tech Leader Bootcamp is for, is creating that order and structure and stability and making the company work together. So everyone understands where they're going, why they're going there. So this is leadership and management. This is what Tech Leader Bootcamp is for. So company founders, C-suite, CEOs, even managers of teams, definitely managers of teams, can make sure their team is productive and work with the teams that they have to work with easily. So nobody's, waiting for somebody else to do their job, or that wasn't important to me. So, well, what do you mean it holds up 16 people's work because we haven't done this? I don't care. No one told me. And that's the chaos of it.
Yeah.
And then software engineers.
Yeah, this is the
want to level up their career. Sorry, Todd.
Yeah, no, I just get excited about this because this is really the story that I went through and how I had to claw, my way because there was no clear path in this, aside from me just making the decision that I wanted to lead teams because I realized that there was more leverage and I could have a greater impact in the world of tech by not only just doing great work myself, but helping others be good as well. And so, this to me is very, near and dear to my heart to create a clear path for engineers who are at that level where maybe they're not quite sure how to become a leader and want to take the career path into their own hands and not just depend on the opportunities presented from their bosses.
Or are drowning in stress and not knowing what to do.
That's the other option, which is what a lot of people are doing, just treading and not enjoying it. And then sometimes then reverting back to being a software engineer because they were not even enjoying the lack of training in the situation in the first place. So
I always think of it this way, sort of like, how many years did it take to become very proficient at what you do? And now you're going to be thrown into the most complex job in business, which is leading and managing people and the systems that they have to run. And when you put it that way, it's like, well, I spent 10 years being really good at this, 15 years being good at this. And even when we talk to CEOs and C-suite who come on the training, because they suddenly go, and this is the thing that also happens. There's a lot of imposter syndrome around. There's a lot of people who hide. And this is a really common thing. I deal with it all of the time because they have a great idea. They have great technical knowledge. They end up high up in the company. And then when the doors are shut, they whisper to me, how the hell did I get here? And I'm so stressed, I'm floundering, and I can't relax at home, and I can't take time off because I'm so scared. They haven't got the organizational staff. They haven't built and got some great managers that are working for them that they can rely on. So there's a lot of stress and problems that happen at all levels. So the Tech Leader Bootcamp, and it's different formats depending on where you are and your level and what you need, is designed to, I like to say, it's almost like to leverage your skills, your technical skills, and then, make them explode in their value. So you can go to any company and say, I prove to you I can be a great engineering leader. I'm a great tech leader.
Yep.
So that's what Tech Leader Bootcamp's for. So if you're thinking, do you know what? I would love some control back in my company or create some for the first time. You're at the stage when you need to, it's going to scale, it's going to grow. And you want to be in control of that. You want to be leading it, directing it. Just give us a call. Yeah, book in for a call. Hit that. There's a button around somewhere, I'm sure, that you can connect to if you don't want to type this out. But just have a conversation about what is the right approach to bring this for you individually or for your company. And we have variations depending on the level, but the skill set applies to absolutely everybody. So
absolutely, yeah. Would love to have you
finish it off.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'd love to have you book in a call here and hear a little bit more about your story and the challenges that you're facing right now with either yourself or your team, people on your team. And I can tell you a little bit about things that I went through that were similar, as well as people in the program that are going through similar challenges. We could talk about, which one of these is a good fit for you.
Yeah. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully it's been valuable to you. But just like how you learn your technical skills, there's also a framework for understanding leadership and management and people and creating those systems. There's a framework, there's a process. It can be learned. And that's the best thing about it. It's not some mystical, puzzling thing. I'm a very practical person. I like to say, this is the process to achieve this. And that's what we built into Tech Leader Bootcamp. So it's not, I'm sure you've had this conversation with a lot of people in the tech space. People just confuse the hell out of me. Well, we'll show you how for it not to be confusing anymore, just the same as all the technical things you learned. Now you understand, the alphabet, then you can create the language. You can make the systems happen.
Yeah, the real nerdy analogy here is...
God, give me the nerdy analogy. Come on, give me the real nerdy one. I thought I was nerdy.
Yeah. No, I just think, this is the framework. People are used to the control and the clarity of docs and APIs with code. This is the framework and API and documentation for people and collaboration. And so that clarity is what we're bringing. And I found that I needed in my own career. So really excited to talk to you. Book a call at that link, and we'll talk to you more soon.
Think we're good.